the next thing I did was, as I told you before, is I put it into 3 dimensions. This was the bubble way back. Okay, so if that is the shape of the heart, this is right off the internet. This shows you, look at the similarity in shape. Remember, this is minimum surfaces. Okay, and of course this is the other ventricle. This is the right ventricle. This is the left ventricle. This is a really, really massive muscle, whereas this other one on the right is very thin. And most doctors will cut that off, or people who study the heart, and it falls on the floor like a napkin, and they study this one. I didn't do that. I wanted to know about this. So I studied this one. And I found out that this form, the 7-sided form, is actually a vortex. And this is the vortex come into manifestation and minimum surfaces. So this is spinning. Okay, this is a spinning form. So I made a vortex generator. I designed a vortex generator so that I could put this form in it. And the vortex generator, you'll see later. But there is a water vortex like this that is created. And I can take the 7-sided form and put it into the vortex, and the vortex completely surrounds it. So you don't see the air anymore. All you see is a movement below the heart, or below this form, but not here. So this conforms to the vortex perfectly. What I did is I set this at 36 degrees, root 3. I set this at root 3, 36 degrees, and I put it into the vortex. And the vortex, what it did was, it didn't like it. What it did is it pushed the vortex like this, off to the side, like that. And I made it by putting a little piece of epoxy each time, taking more and more of the form until I had the form exactly that was going on in the vortex. And this is what happened. This is the vortex when it wrapped around the form. It wrapped around like this. So this vortex was straight down, but since I put this at 45 degrees, it pushed the vortex off to one side, and this is what the top looked like. And this is exactly what the left ventricle and the right ventricle looks like in all your medical books. And it shows that the water, or the blood, is coming in here, and it's going around this corner, and it swirls out of here to the pulmonary and goes to the lungs. Was I put it back into a cube, and of course when I spun this, it turned into this, and of course that put into a cube. So I wanted to show how the heart actually moves. Now the outside of the heart moves like this. It does very little twisting. And so I found out that the basic movement of the heart is controlled by the size of the cube. I was able to find out how to make the geometry move, and that's about how much the heart moves on the outside every beat. But the inside doesn't do that. The inside twists. And how can I possibly show that? Well, I figured out after a while how to do that also. So here it is, the heart on the outside geometry and the inside geometry that's all based on the lawful transformation in the cube. And I found out that when the heart fills, it fills like this, and then when it empties, it twists. And then it fills, and then it twists, and then it fills. Now to find out that just blew me away that I could do that, to show how the inside form and the outside form work together. And this relationship between this form and this form is the thickness of the muscles. I measured it. And the very end of the apex of the heart, right here, this is paper thin. The end of the heart is paper thin right here at the apex. Paper thin. So what that indicated to me is that if this is supposed to be pushing out blood and pumping it out like mad, this would be the first thing to blow out. That's just paper thin. It's like a balloon. So this can't be under pressure like this to get the blood to go out. There's something else working here. So when I put this in the vortex generator, I found out that, I put this into lines, what I found out is that this circle that's created right here, which creates this form, which goes in here, like that. This, when I put this into the form, and then I put it in the vortex generator, the vortex goes in and goes into the circle, It goes right into here. The vortex goes right into here. And when it gets down to about this far, it spurts out like this and will not create any more of a vortex. The vortex stops. So this is a governor. What the heart is doing is it's not allowing that vortex to go down here. That's why it's paper thin. And what it's doing is it's allowing, okay, that this process that goes on in here and the vortex is a natural way of slowing the blood down. This form is deaccelerating. And the reason I know this is because when I turn the machine off and it has this seven-sided form, it goes up here faster to this point than it does on the outside. And that's why this line is created, which no one has been able to explain why the heart has this steep angle at the very base, near the apex. I can't figure that out. That's because the lawful form is showing you that this part is deaccelerating twice as fast as this. So the heart is being broken here, and this is also deaccelerating here, and eventually goes into a plane. So the heart is breaking the blood. It's stopping it. It doesn't allow it to get expand too much, okay? And it doesn't have anything to do with pumping the blood out. It has to do with stopping the blood, breaking it. It comes to a halt in the heart. And that's what the heart is all about. And it's all a thinking process. But that thinking process is based on a rhythm, okay? It's based on the earth, water, air, and fire, and a breathing, and a reversal, and an inversion, okay? All of that allows my thinking to become flexible. So this is all thinking. But it's heart thinking, because it's based on the way the heart moves and works.